What is DOJ's comprehensive strategy for reducing violent crime? Let's find out today. What is up, Crumpy people? My name is John Crump. I am the heavyweight champion of journalism. And before my head gets too big, let me go ahead and sit this down. I'm an investigative journalist with AMLN News, the best damn website on the planet. I investigate the ATF, FBI, and all the agencies and organizations that want to violate your God-given and constitutional right to bear arms. I'm also a gun rights activist for Gun Owners of America, where I currently serve as the Virginia State Director, trying to make the Commonwealth a little more freer. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the DOJ's comprehensive strategy for reducing violent crime. This document was released yesterday to employees by Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and it will eventually be released to the public, we think, but right now we got it ahead of that release. And one of the things that I find really interesting is they separate gun violence from other types of violence, where they call gun violence an epidemic. It further demonizes the tool. And we're going to get into why later on, but let's go through this memorandum and see what it says. It does make mention of the unrest last summer and people being locked up because of the pandemic, which is reasonable, and I think that does have a lot to do with the spike in violent crime. One of the things this document does right off the bat is call for more transparency and accountability with law enforcement. It says that victims really do not trust the police, and we need to return to procedural justice and community policing. The document does call for grants for local organizations through the DOJ. And this kind of reminds me of what happened with Acorn. So this is kind of worrying. It can turn out bad. Acorn was involved in all sorts of voter fraud. In fact, 400,000 of the people they registered weren't actual people that they could register, which is kind of weird. And 2 Acorn officials pled guilty to voter fraud out in Las Vegas in 2009. If you're not aware, Acorn was supposed to help the poor, and it turned into a vote harvesting organization for Democrats. I'm afraid any of these organizations that take money through these grants will turn into another Acorn-like organization, or even worse, a anti-gun organization. Acorn was an anti-gun organization. They actually pushed for gun control in New Jersey, where they tried to intervene in a case. The judge wouldn't let them intervene because they didn't have standing, but they did attempt to try. One of the other things that I find really interesting is that the DOJ wants to disrupt different types of violent crimes depending on the area. This goes to organized crime or gangs, drug traffickers, and domestic abusers. One of the interesting things is it lists gun violence as a separate violent crime, which is kind of interesting because it's the only category that concentrates on the tool and not the person. So if a gang member uses a gun in a crime, is that a gun crime, or were they treated as a criminal organization crime? I don't know, but it's very interesting that they would actually do that. The DOJ will also form something called a Violence Reduction Steering Committee. It will be chaired by the Deputy Attorney General's office. It will include elements of the Office of Associate Attorney Generals, the Civil Rights Division, the Criminal Division, the Executive Office for the United States Attorneys, the Office of Justice Programs, and the department's law enforcement agencies, as well as several others. But what this organization will do is look at the best ways to reduce violent crimes, and as you can tell, I'm pretty much thinking that it's going to be a lot of anti-gun BS going around, because it is a anti-gun Department of Justice right now under Biden and under Biden's cabinet members. All you have to do is look at the nomination of David Chipman to ATF director to notice where Biden is leaning towards his gun stance, which is the most anti-gun president in the history of the country. The DOJ will also be strengthening Project Safe Neighborhood. PSN has been around since 2001, and its goal is to reduce violent crime. It's a joint effort between federal, state, local, tribal enforcement officers, prosecutors, community leaders, and other stakeholders to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in the community and develop a comprehensive solution to address them. Basically, the group uses statistical data and data analysis to determine what causes violent crime and how to prevent it, and different steps that they can take. The memo encourages U.S. attorney offices to hire outreach specialists to work directly with these organizations. The outreach specialists will be paid via a grant from the DOJ given to these U.S. attorneys' offices. It will be interesting to see how this works out, and I'm not really sure where I stand on this because I need to get more information about what this community outreach specialist is going to be doing. And for all intents and purposes, different community outreach specialists can do different things depending on where they are located and what U.S. attorneys' offices they are located in. But the DOJ says they're going to push a evidence-based approach to enforcement and basically concentrate on stuff like hospital-based violence intervention and stuff like that. The department will not aim at prosecutions enforcing statutes or bringing specific criminal charges. The memo says that U.S. attorney generals will prosecute to disrupt violence. It says the U.S. attorneys should use a data-driven model and also use grants to hire criminal justice researchers. It really didn't describe what these criminal justice researchers are, but anytime I see something like that, it kind of makes me worried to make sure they're not going to bring in criminal justice researchers from groups like Giffords or Brady or anything like that. But they will be using grant money to pay these criminal justice researchers, and hopefully it's not of anti-gun organizations, although I do have a feeling that it will be. The DOJ is going to look at programs ran by the ATF, FBI, DEA, and U.S. Marshal Services. It's going to look at their initiatives and see if they're in line with the principles laid out in this memo. One of the interesting things is it says that the law enforcement agencies should not concentrate on the raw number of arrests. It calls these numbers an imperfect proxies. It says that they should concentrate on a new way for meaningful success. It really doesn't define that in any terms whatsoever, but it's just weird. This is, to me, a bunch of malarkey. I don't think any of this stuff is really going to be useful at all, and it looks like it's somebody just checking boxes. I could be wrong. Maybe it will turn out to be great and everyone will be happy and rainbows will pop up everywhere and gumdrops will rain from the skies, but I kind of doubt it. That's just me. I'm pretty sure this will be used for some anti-gun purpose because it's Biden, and Biden hates guns, and Kamala Harris, his VP, she hates guns, and everyone in the Biden administration hates guns. I'm pretty sure they're going to use this to give money to organizations like Giffords and to try to take away your God-given and constitutional rights. All right, if you can do me a big favor and hit this thumbs up button that you see below you, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out over on my Patreon where you can help me do videos like this and get the news out. I take a lot of risk by releasing information like this, so reward me a little bit so I can put it back into my projects, which will help the 2A community. I have a live channel where we stream every day almost, at least 5 days a week. Tonight, if you're watching this today, which is the 26th of May, I have Phil Raboni of the Minuteman Moment, a GOA YouTube show. Okay, with that said, I love you guys. Stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keep in the fight. Go to Black Swan Tactical. Buy one of my awesome t-shirts. They're new and with my new logo. All right, guys. Peace.